But okay, yeah, that when the I apologize about that. I had a emergency alert system came up on my phone, and they pretty much had cut it off. I guess it's like a child abduction. So I hope they're found, safe and sound. But that's my prayer and affirmation, especially to that child and to the family itself, and that justice is served to whoever is the one that's doing the abduction. Um, but the suspect itself or the suspects themselves. But um, what I was talking about was that I was talking about with spiritual work. So this is not the time with the South Node of Scorpio, and you got Neptune and Pisces trying in the South Node. This is not the time. It's either when the nodal axis is like kind of like a reverse. So when you look at it, this is not the time to be sending out spiritual work. This is not the time to be road raging, or anything of that nature, because it's going to come back really quickly. Um, some people, especially the people gonna get that just due, it's gonna show up in terms of like AIDS and STDs and AIDS and stuff. That now this person, by the way, and AIDS and stuff like that, because this is a punishment like from the universe. It's in the form of karma, so people gonna be getting that karma. On the other hand, speaking of AIDS and STDs and stuff, Scorpio rules that, and Pisces rule illnesses. So what's gonna happen here is that it is probably divinely orchestrated by the powers that shouldn't be, but I feel like it's a disease that's gonna get sent out. And while Jupiter gonna expand it, it's gonna make it worse for the worse. It's like a disease may get sent out where it's deadly. It could be in the form of, it's gonna be deadly. It's gonna be deadly. I don't know if it's like a man-made STD or what, or AIDS or STD, some type of disease. It's gonna be deadly. It's gonna be pretty deadly. I say be careful. Um, I say make sure you get things that's gonna strengthen your immune system. Be careful who you have sex with. If you do have sex with, use protection or whatever the case is, because see, this disease be dead. Like if you touch anything that come into contact, this even something that could come through your pores maybe. So I would say be careful, because this is in the form of crimes against humanity. That's why that's why I stated that it's a civil war coming down the road, and it meant to happen, and it got to happen at some point. Um, it got to attack this beast system. Other than that, they could end up, exterminating humanity off this earth, or trying to control the earth by minimizing the population. Um, Food shortages, all of that. Pisces definitely rule crisis. Food shortages and all of that. All of that is coming about. Um, so I say definitely stock out on food. Make sure you have a lot of cleaning supplies. Like I said, be careful who you come into contact with, because see, this disease can easily come through your pores. Especially when you come into contact with people, especially people sweating and things of that nature, or they got a scar for scarred things of that nature. So be careful at this time. Make sure you go to the doctor and continue to get checked up, and make sure your health is in order and stuff. Um, on the other hand, um, and that's why they're going through what they're going through. The patriarchal system itself, this whole beast system. That's why it's eventually it's gonna fall. So even though it's gonna turn into like a one world government, or it's headed that way, that's like a regime change. But eventually it's all gonna fall down, and it's got to happen. It got to happen, and it has to come to pass. Whether people want to face it or not, it got to come to pass. The military is going to be diminished at some point. It's going to be slowly diminishing. The military is slowly going to diminish, and the components of the justice system. I mean, the justice system. Components of the justice system, like the police force and stuff. All of that, we already starting to see it now, but all it slowly but surely it's going to be diminished. And those people, so it's gonna make these, make the powers weak. It's gonna make it weak. Um, so it's more so like the universe is coming for. It's a big karmic bill, karmic debt that's being paid. I mean, the time is up here, especially things that were going on for centuries. Um, so so it's gonna be a horrible civil war. I remember I kept talking about it, but at some point, because Pluto is nearing this 248-year cycle in terms of global wise, so I wouldn't be surprised if a civil war end up taking place at some point. I wouldn't be surprised, but because so things will come to a head at some point. Cause we already seen, if you peep game, we already seen what happened back here on January the 6th of last year. And I remember the year before that I made a reading. If you go back and look at my reading about what Mercury and Scorpio, and I was talking about what was coming. I was talking about what was coming that last year. I was saying the spirits that was still, because that's about communicating with the dead, and I was like, experience with the dead, and with the astral and the celestial plane or the astral plane, and I was saying the spirits are still roaming around their White House, and something got to be confronted. Spirits that are still roaming around their White House, and something was gonna go down. And I predicted it was gonna be between November, and I predicted it was gonna be between December and early January, or sometime in January. And end up showing enough, it ended up happening in January. So if you get a chance to go, definitely go back and look at my video, the Mercury Scorpio video. You'll see when I predicted that the year before last, in October, when Mercury of 2020, when Mercury was retrograde in Scorpio. Um, on the other hand, um, so, well, this is also what I want to address, because we seen people within that. Some of them was part of the military, or secretly ex-military, or policemen or whatever. So with that being said, that's a sign right there what I was talking about. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if there are underground tactical trainings and stuff that end up starting. Discrete tactical trainings and stuff that end up starting when next year, when the North Node moving to Aries and the South Node moving to Libra. Um, with this Neptune, okay, so that's enough about the global part. But with this Neptune, um, cause mind you, this is even part of the Pluto return. But okay, but personally, okay, back to personally. Okay, when you look at where Jupiter could join in Neptune at. Look at where Neptune is in your chart. If you have any placements in Pisces, the ruler is Neptune. Look at where Neptune is in your chart. Like, let me say, for example, let's say if you have well, it just let's say, for example, if you have Saturn and Pisces in the 12th, but the ruler Neptune is in the ninth. Okay, so Pisces. Okay, so by Saturn being in Pisces, the ruler planet of Pisces and Neptune, and you find where Neptune is in the ninth, and you end up seeing where it's placed in the ninth house, and you see exactly what that is. For me, I know for me, I got Saturn and Jupiter. They're gonna be making a conjunction in my 11th house. I mean, Jupiter Neptune is going to make a conjunction in my 11th house, because I got Saturn and Pisces there. So the ruler of the 11th house is Neptune. And and when I look at where Neptune is in my chart, I have Neptune in Capricorn in the 10th house. Of course, let's look at it. When I look at the ruler of Neptune, is a mutual reception. Because when I look at what Neptune is placed, and I look at the placement, and when I look at the ruler of that house, Saturn ruling that 10th house. And so, I have Saturn in 11. So, which meaning that, okay, so when you look at that, so whatever your Neptune is placed, that's what Jupiter gonna maximize. That's what Jupiter's gonna maximize, or it's gonna expand. It's not something that's gonna magically appear. It's more so something that you're gonna be kept producing. It's a great time. It's something that it's gonna it's like it will help manifest it. You look at where your Neptune is and what's aspecting, and you look at your purpose and things of that nature, or what you like to do, your skills and your abilities, or what you like to do. If I were you all, I would even get a chart reading, consult for a chart reading. Because I know I'm not taking sessions. I'm not taking sessions at this time. But here's some people you can contact. Here's some people you all can contact. And you can follow on YouTube. I say follow Apollonia Smith. She her YouTube channel is The Astrology Lady. I got to read from her. She is phenomenal. And then Rabina Rostaban. Go book a reading with those two. Because a chart reading. Because they would definitely. I had to read for both of them, and they are phenomenal. Because they would definitely, because they're spiritual advisors as well. They would definitely they'll read your chart as well. Like I said, I'm not taking consultations right now, and they would definitely tell you exactly. They would basically, give you like the perspectives in terms of your purpose, where you are currently, and with your, they would help you out in terms of your, they would give you insight on different things, like in terms of your abilities and skills and how you should be using them and things of that nature. They would give you advice on that, and how to utilize the energy at this time, and what trends is going on personally in your life and things of that nature. So definitely contact The Astrology Lady. Her name is Apollonia Smith. Definitely follow her on YouTube, The Astrology Lady, and definitely follow Rabina Rostaban. And you can contact either one of them for a consultation. But they are phenomenal, and when I say they are phenomenal, they are phenomenal, and they don't sugarcoat. It's well in depth. It's not like how some of these other YouTubers, and no shade to these other YouTubers, but and what they're doing, how they're doing their stuff. But it's not like some of the other YouTubers that I observed. That's why I say so. You have to carefully shop around. That's why I always stress the importance of that. It's not like these other YouTubers, whereas it just plain and simple and dry. No, and it's shallow. These two, they're gonna go into depth, and they're gonna keep it real with you. Cause they're gonna keep it real with you. They're realists. They're gonna keep it real with you. They're gonna give you both sides, the positive and negative, light and dark, all, you name it. They're gonna give it to you, the hardcore truth. They're not gonna sugarcoat. It's gonna be in depth. It's gonna be in depth. It's gonna be more depth to it. That's why, like me, cause see, I got Scorpio placements in my chart. See, I like things that are in depth. It have to be in depth. When if something superficial, it don't pique my interest, or it loses my interest quickly. It loses my interest quickly, or it don't pique my interest, or I get bored with it because it's not really getting anywhere. It's not much depth. It's not really getting anywhere. So I say definitely go book them. Definitely go book them, especially if you're not sensitive, and if you could be objective to it. Definitely get a reading from them. And if you're willing to, wanting to know what your purpose is, your sense of purpose or whatever it is. One thing I will always say, when you align with your purpose, and I'm a witness of this, when you align with your purpose, your ancestors, you will be divinely protected. No matter what, your ancestors will have your back. They will not turn their back on you. When you're divinely aligned with your purpose. You'll be protected, and you cannot be fucked with. And those of you who have Neptune in the 10th, I say be careful at this time. Be careful of scandals, because Uranus and Neptune and 10th, they can represent scandals. So be careful of that at this time. Be careful what you do. Be careful what you say. You know, and how you say things. Be mindful what you say and how you say things. You know what you're communicating. Think first before acting or before saying anything. So, because it can backfire. So be careful when it comes down to that. And be careful also. Stay grounded at all times. Be careful of anything that come your way that may seem too good to be true, or it's presenting illusions, or it's presenting, or be careful of something that come your way that's too good to be true. Be very careful of it. Also, I want to get this out there. Anybody that come back from the past, be skeptical and be mindful of them. Be careful. And if you wanted to reconcile with these people, especially if it's in your love, your romantic life or sex life, have them to show you have them to show you, because it's going to be too good to be true while they're coming back. Have them to show you some type of evidence that they've been tested. Have them go get tested, show them some type of proof that they've been tested and the results. Because you don't want to hop into bed with them, because if they come back, it's going to be too good to be true. A lot of them. I'm not saying with everybody, but a lot of them it's going to be too good to be true. Especially these people who up and left you behind and stuff like that. Or whatever the case is. They went off and done that thing, whatever, because something is off when they really, a lot of times, they just up and come back like that. Definitely. You don't want to hop into bed with them, and because what you're gonna do if you hop into bed with them without thinking and follow your intuition, especially if you're feeling uncertainty, don't go for it. What you're gonna do is that if you up and hop into bed with them, you're gonna, just because they're coming back, because notice it's too good to be true. It can be too good to be true. You're going to mess around and hop out the bed with something that you may not get rid of. So definitely make sure of that. Don't look at these people like I am hierarchy and council. You're angelic karma, like she said. Don't look at these people. Don't sit up here and buy into these people. And especially be careful who you get readers from at this time. Especially if you want to know about somebody, get it from a realist. Get a reader from a realist, or follow your intuition, because you don't want to sit up here and, because some of these people sugarcoat or somebody, so it may be from a childhood wounding, or they may have to regurgitate or whatever. Because at the same time, you got to take accountability too, because it doesn't give you a right to go around and hurt people. So you have to take accountability too at the same time, responsibility. You got to take accountability for your own actions, and you got to suffer the consequences for it. You made your bed, you lay in it, and you cannot complain about what comes next. That's just how life works. You know, that's just how the laws of the universe works. So and also meditate. Pray and meditate at this time. Definitely pray and meditate, especially if you're to whoever you believe in spiritually, whether if it's the universe, if it's God, if it's Allah, Buddha, whatever you believe in, whatever you believe in spiritually, as divine energies. So definitely be careful about who you force. If you have a tendency to force your and be dogmatic and force your religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs or practices on people, be careful of that at this time, because you may not like what come on the back end of that. And the people who are going to be affected by this conjunction is mostly going to be the mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. They're going to be affected at this time. And also, those I remember when I told you all about with Jupiter and Pisces, what it represents. It got Neptune and Pisces. That's gonna be about when it's making this conjunction. It's about those who were first shall come last, and those who were last shall come first. And when that happens, so those of you who was looked down upon, who were black sheep, considered black sheep, people who doubted you, or whatever the case is, you're gonna come up. It's your time. You're gonna come up. Those who work their way up, especially without doing the necessary work or whatever, or they was using their powers in unjustly ways or whatever, unfair ways or whatever, they gonna fall. Or those who were working their way, or those who didn't work their way up, they gonna fall. And those who are not being authentic to them is gonna fall. To themselves, gonna fall. This gonna start, especially those men. Let me give an example. I talked about this last year. Those men who talking about some alpha males and beta males and stuff like that. You're gonna see, especially between now and when Saturn goes to Aries, you're gonna see those people. Those people gonna get exposed for what they are, and they're not what they claim to be. Because what they're really doing, they're not accomplishing anything. What they're really doing is that they're really projecting out their own insecurities, and they fighting against their own shadow self, or what they're repressing about themselves based off of opinions or beliefs or whatever the case is, or the trends or whatever the case is. So those people, because I did talk about with Saturn and Aquarius, and I talked about that happened last year, and it's still gonna happen. They're gonna feel the karma of that going forward, and they're gonna end up probably unidentifying with that. Because you don't sit up here and tell a man. I don't believe you should sit up here and be telling a man how to structure his own, how to structure his own manhood. No, because I would not allow another man. Don't get me wrong. I can take criticism or constructive criticism, but one thing you're not gonna do, you're not gonna sit up here and get up in my head and try to sway me and try to tell me how to construct my own manhood. That's not gonna happen. And any of you all that's been self-sabotaging yourself for to try to keep friendships and friendship connections and stuff, what's happening is that, and basing and changing yourself up, basing their own opinions and beliefs or whatever, for to try to keep and letting it bother you, especially those of you who have a lot of Aries or Libra in chart, or who have the North and South node in Aries or Libra, or who have the rising sign there on the ascendant descendant. Those people, they're gonna end up cutting people off. Those people off that day, and even with you all that have Pisces energy in chart or whatever the case is, or whatever you've been escaping, to change how you change yourself up, self-sabotage yourself, because Pisces does represent self-sabotage. So what's going to happen is that you're going to end up seeing that those connections are not for you. You're going to feel at this time, because those connections are going to start to feel, it's going to start feeling, it's going to start to, because Saturn square Uranus, Aquarius represents friendships or groups or organizations, and you're going to feel those friendships at this time of being strained, meaning that they serve this purpose. You're gonna feel that they worn out or they draining or whatever, and you're not gonna want to put in any more energy and effort into it. And what's gonna end up happening is that you're gonna see that it's gonna sign that they serve this purpose. You're gonna see that things may not work or whatever, and it served its purpose. It's gonna slowly diminish, or you're gonna get cut off, or they're gonna cut you off, or whatever the case is. You all may try to fake how you feel. You all may try to fake how you feel about the connection, but at the same time, it's otherwise. It's not what you claim it to be. Subconsciously, it's what it is, and you all gonna accept that. Saturn gonna force you all to accept that, and you all gonna end up leaving those connections behind, because you're gonna see they serve this purpose, because the cycle is ending, because Pisces represents endings. That's the 12th house. So because they're gonna feel strain, especially if those of you who are going through a Saturn opposition, Saturn Mars opposition, or if you're going through a Mars and Mars opposition with it, it's gonna really highlight it. It's gonna highlight it. And those of you who are going through inverse nodal returns, about to have your inverse nodal return, it's gonna hit or whatever. You're going to, those restrictions, or whatever is restricting you, or those restrictions is gonna be highlighted at this time. It's gonna feel more so like a rope is wrapped around you, but two people, people on each end, and you're in the middle of the rope, and you being pulled. It's like a tug of war. It's gonna squeeze so tight to the point like you want to bust open, and you want to break down and give out. That's what a surrender. That's what it is. But those of you who, it's gonna make you release those things and go towards things what's true in alignment with you. Those people who are, but those people who've been self-sabotaging themselves just for that whole uphold friendships and stuff, they've been scared to speak out through their throat chakra and stuff, stand up for what they believe in and stuff, especially to make friendships or connections work. Those people right there, they're going to realize that they was their own worst enemy, and they will fight, because Pisces is assigned to hidden enemies, which is yourself, and you're going to realize that you were fighting against yourself, and you're going to end up cutting those connections. You're going to accept those things about yourself. Like, for example, if somebody if somebody been saying it's not good to be jealous or possessive, even though that's an innate part of you, even though you had to keep it balanced, but that's an innate part of who you are, your subconscious. Well, what happened is that you're going to end up coming to terms and accepting those things about yourself, owning those things about yourself, accepting those things about yourself, and you're going to end up rejecting those people. You're going to end up rejecting those people who are making you feel bad about those things about yourself. So that's what's going to take place here. That's what's going to end up taking place. And when Saturn goes into Pisces, when the North Node goes to Aries and Saturn goes to Pisces, you all, those who are coming up and are chosen, and those who are coming up, because Pisces represents the underdog as well. So those who are coming up, they're gonna be, and that was doubted, looked down upon, and all that. Those people, they're gonna shock the world. They're gonna shock the world. They're gonna surprise. They're gonna shock the world. Some of you all gonna be taking back your own power control of your life. You're gonna experience a breakthrough, some major breakthroughs, and not only that, especially if you're doing the work on yourself. That's not the only thing, but some of you also, on the other hand, you're going to kind of got sidetracked for a minute. Yeah. So okay, this is what I'm saying. Some of you, you're gonna be placed with new responsibility. You're gonna be placed with new responsibility. Because I did say those who will last shall come first, those who will first shall come last. Meaning that those who fall and those who will last, that was doubted and all that, and those considered the underdog, they're gonna be cut. They're gonna be first. It's because Pisces is the last sign, and West Line doormat, that's Pisces, and Saturn represents time, so it's gonna carry on over to Saturn and Pisces. It's gonna be beautiful, and those who were and Aries represents the first. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. The cardinal sign, that's the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is a mutable sign. Those who were first about to be disposed, they about to fall. Remember, I made a reading last year called Fall of the Hangman. And those who were last, they're gonna come first. Who were doubted, the underdog, looked down upon. And if you've been escaping situations, this is gonna be the time whereas It's going to culminate, whereas you may encounter an experience, you may end up encountering an experience, whereas you're going to end up having to face whatever you've been escaping. This is a time where forgiveness is gonna be happen, closure, forgiveness is gonna have to happen, and on forward through Saturn, while Saturn going through Pisces. I will say this also on the other hand, because Pisces represents drugs as well and addictions. So a lot of, don't be surprised if a lot of liquor stores or whatever make money at this time. Drug dealers and liquor stores are gonna make a killing because it's gonna starting at this time going forward through wild Saturn and Pisces because it's gonna happen due to people running from their own reality, their fears and their own reality. Because Pisces represents the subconscious. Those water signs represent subconscious. So, and people who've been deprived of their own personal power, even including children, because I did talk about this, they gonna be taking back their power going forward, and they're gonna realize that they're being deprived of their own personal power. We're in the time period where they're being resourceful, especially those people who are born as Pluto Sagittarius or Pluto and Capricornish type people. In that generation, they're gonna realize that, and people who are born in Pluto and Scorpio may help them overcome that, and may help provide those resources. And so, because I remember I talked about anything patriarchal related and that's connected with the patriarchy, it is falling. It's diminishing. Ever since after the energy happened in Capricorn 2 years ago, it's diminishing. Because Capricorn represents the patriarchy. All of that is diminishing. Pisces represents slavery. Not knowing your worth, self-sabotage, being deprived of your own personal power. What Pisces represents. And it can represent depression and all of that. Because it's another thing with adults, because we need to start, those of us who have children, I don't have any children, but those of you who have children, you need to start allowing your children to be able to talk. And not when you sit up there and when you strike them with a belt or whatever, you discipline your child the way how you want to. I know me, I'm strongly against it. I'm against corporal punishment. Because I went through that when I was younger, and I don't think it's cool, me personally. So I'm very against it because that it doesn't, it's not in alignment with who I am. Especially the reactions that I would feel, it's not in alignment with who I am. I feel there's other different ways of discipline, but to each of his own. Parents, they choose how they want to do. That's their responsibility. But a lot of them that have allowed abuse to happen, they're gonna be suffering. They're gonna be getting their karma. Especially when Saturn goes to Pisces, they're gonna get their just due. Or guardians, they're gonna get their just due. Or some of them might get taken out of here if they don't catch no disease or anything. It's gonna happen in different ways, in different forms, or different illness and sickness. It's gonna happen in different ways, in different forms. Especially they running from taking accountability, want to seek approval from others to make them feel good about their own actions instead of them wanting to face what their conscience is really feeling about it and want to take accountability and responsibility for it. So that's coming. And it's going to be for eternity when they get this. And they're going to be put in a position where they're going to need those who they took advantage of, deprived of their own personal power, and abused. Because victims, Pisces represents victims. Victims, they're going to come up at this time. You may be seeing people speaking up and speaking out, or they're going to transmute that and they're going to be helping people who are going through abuse. They're going to transmute it with their own experience, and they're going to be helping people out. They're going to transmute that into a purpose or whatever the case is. And some people going to be seeking counseling and help as well. That's going to help them. Or people going to be seeking you all for counseling and help, or whatever the case is. And also you'll have a sense of your purpose as well, especially wherever Neptune is. Which is I was suggested to consult Rabina Rastaban and the astrology lady for a chart read, a real hardcore in-depth chart reading. That's not sugar coated and it's deep. It goes in depth and it's real, honest, raw. And a lot of false prophets, a lot of false, what they consider false prophets, teachers, and all, they're gonna be turned. And people who were is considered self-proclaimed earth angels, they're gonna be turned up at this time. They're gonna be turned up and exposed at this time, and they're gonna get their just due. And even people who are fake tarot readers that was stealing other people's work, or spiritual readers and advisors and stuff, and that was stealing other people's content, stealing other people's work and all that stuff, and without giving them proper credit where it's due or whatever the case is, and turning to their own, they're going to get their just due as well. And those who was following, and those who was following, and those who was following people who were following people that was scamming and things of that nature. Because South Node is Scorpio represents scams, Aquarius represents scams. You're gonna find out that person is not who they truly are. Especially when they're giving donations and stuff to it, whether it's on YouTube or in person or whatever. Because the hangman, I was talking about the follower, the hangman represents supporting it. The hangman represents either supporting or enabling. What the hangman represents. If you see the hangman on the card, like the person hanging from a tree, it's like they want to be catered to. Codependent habits, and people who are going through habits like that, it's about to break. Because if you look at it, and people who personal power lie doormat, they're going to could be connected with that. That's why I say they're gonna shock the world. Cause you look at the murky waters of what's lying beneath, and in the shadow, and with Pisces also, when you think about how the fish tends to run from that being, the predator, the being that's going after it. But when you look at another type of fish, because Pisces represents the Great Deception, or the Great Deceptor. When you think about, and then next thing you know, when you think about it, you'll catch somebody going up on the water. They trying to go after a fish or something, and next thing you know, and the fish running from them. But you're going to have this other type of fish. This another side of Pisces. And that is what they call them, them sharks and whales, or what they call the big white whale. It's something like that. And then they end up turning around running from it. So it's like those of you who escaping your fears and running and escaping your fears, making excuses, you're going to end up facing it, and you're going to face whatever. You're going to end up accepting the truth that comes with it. You're going to end up facing it. And those who have refused to take accountability and responsibility and see things what they are, they're going to, and still up on illusions and making excuses and playing victim and being a martyr, they going to it's going to be made known to them. It's going to be highlighted to them. But this one I want to come on here talk about. Until next time, peace and blessings.